All right, so I want to bring a story to you right now that has kind of flown under the radar, and it's Donald Trump's visit to the Kennedy Center last night to watch a performance of Les Miserables. Trump and his entire administration thought that this outing for him would boost his political popularity, but in reality, he faced a lot of opposition at the Kennedy Center, and I would argue got pretty badly embarrassed, whether it be reporters asking him questions or him even getting booed at the beginning of the performance for the night. So I want to dive into this story with you and give you some more specifics. And I want to start out here. Donald Trump entered the Kennedy Center and walked the red carpet that they had there, and there were some reporters stationed ready to ask him some questions. And man, that did not go well for Donald Trump. So have a look at this first clip where a reporter asked him which character in Les Miserables he identifies with more. Take a look.
President, what did the regime...
We're not going to allow that.
Mr. President, can you tell us...
A question on the musical. Have you seen the musical before, and do you identify more with Jean Valjean or Javert?
That's a tough one. That last part of that question, that's tough, I think. You better answer that one, honey. I don't know. I've seen it. We've seen it a number of times. It's fantastic. I thought it was just about our first choice. That's what we got. And we have others coming. Other great ones are coming.
Like, from this answer, it is so obvious that he has never seen Les Miserables, and he has no idea what the reporter is asking him. That's why he's like, oh, well, Melania, you should probably answer that one, because he has no idea what he's talking about. So the night began with him obviously showing off his incompetence here. Not that he has to be competent in the study of musical theater, but, you know, him just openly lying, saying, oh, we've seen it a number of times, and I don't know which character I identify with more. It's so obvious that he doesn't know what he's talking about. So it started there with some minor embarrassment. Then it got worse because he was asked about some of the actors possibly boycotting their performance and not performing since Donald Trump was there. And he snapped at the reporter who asked him that question. Have a look.
Do something about that. There's something very wrong. We are going to have law and order in our country.
Are you prepared, sir, to send the National Guard to other countries?
Who is?
It's been reported that some actors may be boycotting tonight.
I couldn't care less. Honestly, all I do is run the country well. The economic numbers, you saw them today, they're setting records. We took $88 billion in tariffs in 2 months, far beyond what anybody expected. There's no inflation. People are happy. People are wealthy. The country's getting back to strength again. That's what I care about. And we're going to have a safe country. We're not going to do something.
Yeah, he just decided to go on a completely different rant about a completely different topic and just lie that all of these economic numbers are booming and everything is great. You know, the stock market still hasn't recovered. Inflation is still high. Prices are going up, even after he said he would eliminate inflation. But when the reporter asked him, like, hey, you know, some actors might be boycotting, he snaps back saying, I couldn't care less. I only care. All I do is run the country well. People are happy. And you can tell, you know, obviously we know Donald Trump is one of the most narcissistic, sociopathic individuals to ever be in American politics. But well, that's kind of a low bar, but he manages to cross it. But yeah, obviously we know that very deep down he is offended by people who don't like him. So when people are boycotting, when actors are not willing to perform for him, he, you know, tries to hide it by saying, oh, I couldn't care less. But we know Donald Trump. We know that this offends him. And honestly, I'm surprised that we didn't get a rant on Truth Social as a result of these actors not performing for him. But it got worse for Donald Trump because there was some dissent inside the theater, inside the Kennedy Center. We had different people like these folks who showed up in anti-Trump shirts. They wrote, quote, when you can't change your Kennedy Center tickets because Trump turned it into a fundraiser for his fascist friends, you make a statement out of it. And they showed up to the Kennedy Center for the performance that Donald Trump is at. And this man is wearing a shirt that says democracy has no kings, and she is wearing a shirt that says abolish ICE. And again, Donald Trump hates dissenters. He hates anybody that's protesting him. That has long been a characteristic of Donald Trump. So you can only imagine how furious he was when he saw this picture. And it actually ended up going incredibly viral, getting 1.5 million views on Twitter, 39,000 likes. Of course, I liked the photo as well. So undoubtedly, members of the Trump administration saw this photo. And again, I want to reiterate that anytime somebody dissents toward Donald Trump, anytime they say, hey, I'm not a big fan of him, he gets pretty pissed. He gets pretty angry. Another part of this performance I want to show you, some more dissent, is the fact that drag queens showed up to the Kennedy Center and were met with applause from the crowd. Have a look. See, and what's great about this is one of Donald Trump's reasons for taking over the Kennedy Center and installing his buddies is that he said there were transgender drag queen performances taking place at the Kennedy Center, and thus he had to come in and save it. And so these drag queens showing up to the performance that Donald Trump was going to be at and was at is just so perfect. And they actually spoke to the New York Times about their experiences and why they were there. One of the drag queens said to the New York Times for being at the performance, "You can't erase us," toward Donald Trump, who has obviously tried to pass all these different pieces of legislation that make being a drag queen or showing up in drag in public illegal. That has been consistently struck down by a number of different courts across the country. But I think them showing up is just so funny at the exact same performance that Donald Trump is at. So he's there, he's getting questions he doesn't like. There are drag queens at the performance, there are people wearing shirts, but this is probably the worst moment of the night for Donald Trump when he showed up to the Kennedy Center and made his face known and everybody saw him at in the crowd. He got booed. People were screaming, "Felon, you're a convicted felon," at him, and we all know that drives Donald Trump nuts. Have a look.
Stop it. Stop it.
Convicted felon.
Listen, that lady at the end, I love her. I think she's doing some good work. And the lady behind her who kept trying to clap over her, very unsuccessfully, might I add. Apparently, she likes convicted felons like Donald Trump. But I'm pretty surprised, honestly. Since Donald Trump installed his loyalists at the Kennedy Center, his buddies, I'm surprised that there was any dissent that night. But he got quite a bit. You heard quite a bit of boos in the background, even though all of his loyal fans were there who were celebrating him. There were quite a few people saying, not a fan of Trump. And obviously that lady at the end saying, "Convicted felon, you're a convicted felon." So the night was not ideal for Donald Trump. He had these tough questions he didn't like. And obviously he looked pretty stupid when he was answering a question about the musical. And then of course you had these amazing shirts and different people. They weren't the only one wearing these kind of shirts at the Kennedy Center. The drag queen showed up. He got booed. It was just a bad night for Donald Trump overall. And if it's a bad night for Donald Trump, it's a great night for the United States. So look, I will leave the video there. Just wanted to bring this story to your attention. I didn't think it got enough of attention from the media, but look, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.